Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching a very special edition of our World Cup coverage. I'm Shivani Gupta, joining you from Chennai, from right outside the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium. This is, of course, where Team India will be starting its opener in the World Cup 2023. That too against a champion side like Australia. Both teams have gone through a bit of a practice session today. Australia has completed it. The Indian team is out practicing as I speak. But the biggest question right now ahead of this match is whether India's hottest batsman right now, Shubman Gill, is going to play or not. So just a short while back, Rahul Dravid, the Indian team coach, addressed the opening press conference of the World Cup campaign for the Indian team. And the first question naturally was on Shubman Gill. What Rahul Dravid has told the media today is that Shubman Gill is feeling better today than he was yesterday as far as his dengue scare is concerned. And also that the medical team is continuously monitoring him, and they will continue to monitor him for over the next 36 hours till ahead of the match and the toss. But importantly, what Rahul Dravid has said is that Shubman Gill is not ruled out just yet. That said, given that the scare is as serious as it is with just less than 2 days to go, I'm sure the Indian team would have already tried to work out some backup plans, some permutations and combinations of what they can do with who else is available. We'll get to that in just a bit. Let's go across to our experts joining us, Murli Karthik, Graham Swan and Ayaz Memon. Gentlemen, many thanks for your time once again. Karthik, let me begin with you. This is not the kind of start that the Indian team would have hoped for. Just when it looked like everything is set and the run-up to the World Cup had finally fallen into place, maybe the playing 11 was also falling into place, you have this scare for Shubman Gill, and the player in question is really key to India's fortunes in this World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely well said, Shivani, because he's been one person who's been in stupendous form right through, or the last 14 months have been a purple patch for Shubman Gill. And in fact, before this tournament started, I said that he's the key to India's success. Just the way he started, just the kind of form he's in. And he just makes batting look easy. So you're absolutely right. Not the kind of start which India would be hoping for. It's an absolute bummer if he can't start in the playing 11. But that's how it goes. Sometimes in sport, you can have the best laid plans and they can all go awry. So for India, thankfully, everybody is in form. They've got a few openers who can, or a few batters who can open, the likes of KL Rahul or Ishan Kishan with Rohit Sharma. But for what we heard from Rahul Dravid wasn't the best of news. If you talk about all the billion fans who are hoping that India get off to a great start, having really done well against Australia recently.
Absolutely, he's done well against Australia. But we'll get to the options that the team has in just a bit. Graham, I wanted to take your opinion on this too. It doesn't really look good. If it's a dengue, you do need about a week to kind of recover from your first bout, even if it's not that serious. So if you look at the signs, it doesn't look very good for Shubman Gill. On top of that, the team wouldn't want to rush him, at this stage of the World Cup, not being as do or die as it may be towards the end of the group stage. So, do you reckon for someone who's under a flu-like situation or a dengue-like situation, it would be pretty hard for Shubman Gill to just recover in 36 hours?
I'm looking at that thinking the coach will obviously take it day by day. Rahul Dravid said that. But do you really want a player who in the hot Indian heat, when he's getting out there having to field for 3.5 hours, then having to bat, it has to take it out on you. I'd actually say to Shubman Gill, look, we know how good you are. Your place is there as soon as you're fit and firing. You are in our starting 11, of course you are. But for a game as big as an opener against a team like Australia, who you don't want to give an inkling to, you don't want to lose that opening match, I would say, look, sit this one out, recover properly, stay in your hotel room, get your fluids on board. We don't want to risk you because you don't want to play him in the game. And even if he scores well, he's going to be wiped out for a week after that, surely. The energy levels and the sapping heat of Chennai. So personally, I'd be looking for him to miss this one. But that would give an opportunity to one of the other guys who may not have started anyway. And when you look at your middle order options there, they're all so strong. Maybe Shubman Gill saying, absolutely not, I have to play, I want to play, I want to keep my spot. So they're very good situations that India find themselves in. As a coach, I would definitely say, miss this one out. sit and get fully fit. We want you firing on all cylinders for the business end of this tournament, not for the first game.
Yes, and actually I asked, he can sit this one out. The next one is against Afghanistan, so not the most high pressure match again. And I think the Indian team will look at the fact that maybe you can get a week, but by the time the Pakistan match comes down, that's when they would hope that, Shubman Gill is ready to fire on all cylinders instead of rushing him right now.
So Shivani, everything veers around the Indo-Pak match, as we can see. But I think, the issue really is of getting him fit and going for the duration of the tournament. It's a 7-week, 6-week long tournament, a little more than that. And you want him to be there for, if not all, most of the matches. And if the first match is going to affect him adversely, then it's a tough call. But that's the call that the team management and he himself has to take. Look, India would like to get off to a winning start, and he's such a vital element in that aspiration or in that game plan. And if Shubman is not there, then I dare say that the Australians will breathe a little easy. Not too much, because India have got wonderful replacements available. So that's actually, what we thought was a problem of plenty for Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma might just come to their rescue, because, dengue is not something that you will take very lightly. It's not a common flu that gets over in 2-3 days and you're fine. Pop a few Colderins and you're okay. So I think they should just go by medical advice and then take it from there.
All right, let's get down to exactly what the team can look to do if there is no Shubman Gill. If you read between the lines, Dravid sounded optimistic, but of course, given the situation what it is, it doesn't look like Shubman Gill can be in, batting and match fitness in just about 36 hours from now. And why risk him at this stage when it's not a do or die situation? You need him really for the end few matches more than anything else, even though the Australia match is a big one and they would like to get a win under their belt. But what is the best option? Now, we'll run the records of both Ishan Kishan and KL Rahul, who have done reasonably well for India, Karthik, as far as the opening slot is concerned. Ishan more recently in the ODIs than in the T20s. Of course, KL Rahul, we know, has a good record as an opener. But do you think it would be Ishan preferred for them for that right-hander, left-hander combination? And also, maybe they wouldn't want to disturb KL Rahul from the position that he's batting in right now. Who would your pick be as the partner for Rohit Sharma?
Look, ideally, both of them are capable enough. But does the team want a left-hand, right-hand combination? Also, the way the current series panned out, I just got the feeling that they saw Ishan Kishan as a middle-order batter for his left-handedness, and the fact that all the top 4 or 5 of India are all right-handers. The only left-hander to come later on is Ravindra Jadeja. So is that something? And as you rightly said, KL Rahul has got a great record. And someone like Ishan Kishan, for all his flamboyance, is slightly suspect against swing bowling. So would you want to expose him as an opener, or do you still like him as a middle-order batter? That is something which the Indian team has to answer. But I'm pretty sure that both of them are capable enough if given the opportunity to go and open. It boils down to what Rohit and Rahul feel is the ideal combination, to whether you want to start with a left-right combination or 2 right-handers, as Shubman Gill and Rohit are. Anyway, so someone like KL Rahul is equally adept at opening, and it gives him more time. But also, if they use him as a wicket keeper, do you want him that extra, or do you want to put that extra burden of him opening and keeping for 50 overs? But it's the same for Ishan Kishan as well.
Exactly. That's what I was about to ask you for a clarification. You mean that for Ishan or KL Rahul? Because no, I think we did get a sense from a lot of our experts that you do prefer Ishan Kishan with the gloves. You do prefer Ishan with the gloves, right?
100%. I prefer Ishan with the gloves. The reason being that Ishan is a natural gloveman. He's done that all his life. KL Rahul, I feel, is a better fielder, but again, he's had some issues with his fingers. Even during the series when he was keeping, there were times where his left hand wasn't going towards the ball. He was hit a couple of times, and then you could feel that. You don't want that to affect his batting. I feel he's a natural fielder, he's a good mover, he's got great hands as a fielder. So again, I personally prefer Ishan Kishan. If I was a bowler, I would want him if there is no Rishabh Pant.
So are you suggesting then that if Ishan is keeping the gloves, you wouldn't ideally want to give him the burden of opening too? Let KL Rahul open then?
Look, these are young players. Again, it comes down to what the team management wants. I would actually, I don't have a problem with it. I actually feel that even if you're an opener, Adam Gilchrist did it for all his life. He kept the batting for, he batted
absolutely.
as an opener and kept for 50 overs. So he was one of the greatest we have seen in our times, or for matter all time. So it's not a burden. It's how the team reckons is going to fit them. I actually feel Ishan Kishan to keep and Ishan Kishan to open as a left-right combination.
Yeah, Graham, Ishan has relatively less experience in one-day format opening for India, but in the 5 matches that he has a strike rate of over 100 and an average of over 50. In comparison, KL Rahul has played more matches as an opener, almost 16 one-days for India. His average is very good at a 48. The strike rate is a little bit lower. Who is the preferred opener for you in this case?
Me, I'd definitely go with the left-hander. I think KL Raoul's a fantastic player, superb player, and you know what you're going to get. Ishan Kishan is a younger guy coming through, very exciting, probably a bit more exciting, as he has a few more of the modern T20 shots, and I'm not saying KL Rahul doesn't have all of those. But personally, I always think a left-right combination at the top is very important, especially against a team like Australia, with the left-arm swing of Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins. They love having batsmen, right-handed batsmen especially. They can swing it in to the stumps, smash them on the front pad, get LBs and balls. I think having a left-hander just throws them off a little bit. If you've got Rohit at one end and then a lefty at the other, swinging becomes more difficult to keep your line and length. So I would take that into consideration. I would definitely go for Ishan at the top.
I asked your thoughts on this, almost like, I don't want to say that this is a welcome break, but as you said, the problem of plenty is also presenting an opportunity or coming in handy for the Indian team, because they've got options, because it could well have been, as has happened with some sides in the past, that you don't always have a ready opener available in your side.
Yes, a ready opener and somebody who's in great batting form. So I'd actually make it a unanimous decision with Murli and with Graham. And say Ishan Kishan, of course, he'll be in the playing 11 if Shubman Gill is not there. But then he should open the innings, in my opinion. Rahul has come back very, impressively after his long injury layoff and has made a lot of runs in number 5 position. So his experience also becomes of great value there. And the right-left combination, I think, could kind of cause a little, could fluster the Aussies a little bit. So I would go with that, Ishan Kishan to open with Rohit.
Just to add one more thing to everyone,
Yes,
just look at the record of KL Rahul at number 4 and 5. He averages close to 54, and possibly that's one of the reasons why they've allowed him to handle that, so that he can play with the likes of Hardik or Ravindra Jadeja if required. And he has shepherded the team beautifully in the last few games that he has played from the time he's come back from injury.
No, absolutely. I think I do get a sense that they might not want to shuffle KL Rahul at this point, because he seems to be nicely settled in that role that he's playing for India. And in any case, I think Ishan doesn't mind opening. He's been very prolific as an opener, especially recently as well. And with that left hand, right hand combination, this could just settle down perfectly. I'm just wondering what happens when Shubman Gill, gets ready. But one of the benefits of having Ishan Kishan in any case was that he can move up and down the order. He has that flexibility as a batsman and tends to be, readily available in any slot that you might want to put him in. Graham, I want to take your thoughts on this Australian side. The Aussies, always a winning mindset. Of course, as an English cricketer, you know a thing or two about this. But how much of a champion side do you reckon this Aussie side is?
Good question, actually. Normally going into a World Cup, I'd always say that Australia are the team to beat, no matter if they're home or away. They always come to the table in a World Cup and play above themselves. And this definitely is not an Australian team as good as, that magnificent team of the late 90s, early 2000s. They've got a couple of world-class players, don't get me wrong, but from 1 to 11, they're not that team. However, on their day, they can beat absolutely everybody. So they still have incredible players. David Warner, I think the 50-over cricket suits him way more than T20 these days. He's a very dangerous customer. He obviously knows Indian conditioned so well from all his time in the IPL. I think with Mitchell Starc, he's bowling well at the minute. He's bowling quick swing. That can be vital at the top to get early wickets. They've always got players coming in who can do the job and do damage. But I don't think they're an Australian team to necessarily be scared of. And I'm saying this now with a smile on my face because I thought England would do well yesterday and we got hammered by 9 wickets by New Zealand. So maybe me saying that Australia aren't going to be very good means that they'll be absolutely brilliant. As an Englishman, if I was playing against either of these two teams, India or Australia tomorrow, I'll be far more concerned about India than Australia, if that helps answer the question.
Even without Shubman Gill?
Even without Shubman Gill. Honestly, you've got an embarrassment of riches as batsmen, and the guys who might necessarily not play. I said this the other day. I said if they're not going to play for India, then come and play for England because we need all the help we can get. You've got an embarrassment of riches, so I wouldn't worry too much. If Shubman's not fit and firing to go, save him for the later part of the tournament because you've got able replacements who can come in and still win matches for India.
As I want to get you in as well, what do you think separates these two sides? Of course, right now that big hole, that gaping hole is Gill's absence. But if we leave that aside, of course, you have to be prepared for these situations. And that is why you have a squad of 15. What do you think separates these two sides and who comes out on top for you as it stands today?
Well, I think very little separates the two sides because if you look at their recent record, India beat Australia in Australia at home, but went on to lose the WTC final. I know that's a different format, but there's a lot of what goes on in the minds of players when they face each other, especially two top teams like Australia and India. I think the advantage for India would be at playing at home. For me, the moot question is whether Ashwin will be in the playing 11 or not, because he's had such a huge, in a way, a stranglehold over the top order, albeit in a different format again. But playing on Indian pitches, in Indian conditions, he could be very much the X factor of the team. I think from Australia's point of view, the form of Mitchell Starc, which Glenn Swan spoke about, and Adam Zampa is going to be crucial because if Starc gets those early wickets or towards the end comes and cleans up, in his death overs a few batsmen, and Adam Zampa, how he bowls his leg spin against batsmen who play spin extremely well, these are going to be really vital. It's going to be vital for Australia how they perform in this match. This is a really tough match for both teams, and I think both teams will want a winning start to just get that momentum going in this World Cup.
How important is it, Karthik, to get that first win under your belt? Do you think that is make or break in a campaign?
It's not exactly make or break, but it's you always want to start well, isn't it? It's about starting well. You always want that win under your belt. Just like Graham spoke about England, maybe New Zealand was a weakened side yesterday, but still England needed that victory under their belt, which New Zealand managed to get. Everybody was saying advantage England, but it was New Zealand which won. And similarly, everybody's talking about advantage India as a favorite. But that doesn't mean that you're ensured a win. But as a team, you want to have a great start to a tournament because it's a long tournament. I know everybody talks about peaking at the right time and all that, but still that first win in the very first game is as important as peaking at the right time.
Wow, all right. The first win in the first game, as important as peaking at the right time. I like that. We'll see how the trajectory of the teams go and whether that win in the first games that they get also helps them as far as peaking later in the tournament is concerned. Very quickly, Karthik, we did discuss your preferred bowling options for India. As far as this match is concerned, given that it's going to be played on the Chennai track, what is your ideal bowling lineup for Sunday?
Shivani, I wish I could say that. You have to want to have a look at the pitch. If I go by history, then actually on this track, you don't mind if it's set to turn, I'll pick all 3 spinners. Because then you have the added advantage of using Ashwin whenever you want. He can bowl in the power play, he can bowl much later when the field is spread out after 40. But if the wicket's a very good one, I would still go with those 3 seamers which I picked. But if it's the old Chennai, which we have seen in the last 2 or 3 years, I would go 3 seamers, Siraj and Bumrah. 3 spinners, Siraj and Bumrah.
And of course, Hardik Pandya as the bowling all-rounder as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would kind of complete the lineup. You know, Graham, I've been wanting to ask you this question. We've got limited time. You know, Maxwell is one of those characters I feel in international cricket is a guy that splits opinion right down to the middle. Many feel he is that X factor guy, and you will always like to have him because he can win a match from any situation, you know, only on his own. And others have always been very critical about his stop-start kind of career and never really a form that you never really know how long his form is going to last. This time he's coming back after a layoff of sorts. Your thoughts, where do you stand on Glenn Maxwell for Australia?
Tell you what, where I am, I think he is one of the best players. I'm sorry, you broke up. I don't know whether you came to me there, but Glenn Maxwell is one of those players who could very well win a game from absolutely nowhere or lose a game from absolutely nowhere as well. So he is a proper X Factor player. We've seen him do it so infrequently in the IPL, and yet he still comes back, bouncing back for more. He is a very dangerous customer, especially if it turns. He got a brilliant 90-odd in the IPL at the Chepauk a couple of years ago when no one else scored runs. So I would definitely go with the three spinners, like Murray said. But look out for Glenn Maxwell, because if he's on, he's amazing. If he's off, he's freezing cold.
Right. Okay, I asked final comments as well. Gill was supposed to be our, you know, how should I say, our talisman maybe for this tournament with the form that he's in. But now that he's not there, at least for this match, I don't know, fingers crossed, whatever happens. Who is the X-Factor player for India in his absence?
In my opinion, it would be Hardik Pandya. I mean, you know, he's also been, you know, a little injury prone, but he brings a lot of, you know, a lot of match winning ability to the Indian team. We've seen that in the recent past in white ball cricket, whether with the bat or with the ball. He's also a brilliant fielder. And I think if he hits his, you know, if he hits good form very early in the tournament, he could be a very strong influence on how India plays in this tournament.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, I've run out of time. It's a pleasure having you and your thoughts. And of course, a reminder to our viewers, we will get you another chat with our experts tomorrow as well, ahead of the first game for India, India versus Australia at the Chepauk Stadium. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow as well.